Hello everybody and welcome back to the 5-Star Potential Podcast Social. We're on to episode 9, day 9 of the daily lockdown podcast here on the WeShoe FM YouTube channel. As always, hope you guys are doing well, keeping safe. You've had a good day today, and alongside me today, as you can see, we've got Mr. Friday Night FM. Joe, how's it going?
I'm good, mate. You alright?
Yeah, all good, thank you. All good.
It's a nice app, Dave.
It's not a really nice app, mate. Yeah. I've promised the people a haircut. I'll show them after we've introduced our next guest, which is Sam LonghurstLive. How's it going, mate?
Good, thank you. Finally glad to be on the podcast after a long time of trying to be on it. But, you know, I'm all good.
Good.
We're just letting you on the budget one, mate.
Yeah. How was your day today, mate? All good?
Good. I mean, I've been working from home, streaming at the same time. It's been all go, but it's all been good.
That's the life.
Good,
That's
good.
the life.
Yeah.
So
Up
this
the tax man.
yeah. This is the reveal, Joe. What do you reckon? Oh,
It looks good on the side, mate. It looks good on the side.
yeah, it looks fresh there. We're recording the actual podcast. I said the 5-Star Pod official after this. So I reckon I keep the cap on. We do the same thing, live reveal on there.
I reckon, though. You know when, like, so we call you Lego head?
Yeah.
If you take that cap off and you've got the little round circle there.
Where that little fingers. I'm not ready myself, man. I think I look like that picture of you.
Just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. Oh, he's gone for it. Connor Cody.
Bit like Mitrovic.
Mitrovic. Should I do it with or without the cap on? Should I put the cap back on?
No, man, it looks fresh.
Jeez.
I like it. I
think everyone's trying to adapt to it, innit?
To be honest, I'm really glad that Dupe's not on here.
Mate, he FaceTimed me. He's like, no, Dave, I can't believe you're doing
Inappropriate jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know how Dupe was giving it the big and like, you'd never have it cut off properly. And then he was like, oh, Dave,
To be
why
fair,
have
he
you cut
didn't
it off?
last time, so.
Yeah, but this is it's a bit fresh, isn't it? Got a decent hairline to
He was
match.
he was sending me Snapchats earlier using the bald filter pretending to be Bateson.
I saw that.
Now you could literally just do it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Hi guys.
I'm blocked by Basin. Don't know why. I like to tweet about him being an egg or something before. And he blocked me.
Yeah, everyone tweets him being an egg and you block him, don't they?
Yeah.
All football Twitter's blocked by Bateson.
I used to play pro clubs with Bateson. With Flex. Okay. Anyway, let's move on.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
Used to steal his signatures as well.
Yeah, I used to steal his graphics off a old school forum as well. Yeah. So we like to talk about obviously lockdown life on this podcast, Sam. We always start off with a question, reaction really. What was your reaction to the latest lockdown? Like, what are your thoughts about it? Were you prepared?
I mean, I saw it coming from a mile off.
Yeah.
I knew it'd be coming because, I mean, I work for BBC News as well as a freelancer, so I kind of heard there was going to be rumours of it. But it doesn't really seem as serious as last time. Like, even on the way to work, there's central lines are packed, the trains are packed. It doesn't really feel like anyone's taking it seriously, but here we are again, sat indoors almost a year later, just doing the same thing.
Yeah, it is one of those. I think, like, I mean, you see the cases and stuff going up. I know they're doing loads and loads of testing at the moment, but you're right. I think, like, people are sort of, I think in the back of people's minds they know it's a lockdown, but at the same time I think everyone's just almost trying to get their life back to normal in a way as well. So it has been a bit of a difficult one. But in turn, like you said, you got loads of stories about lockdown 1.
Lockdown 1 was eventful for me.
Yeah,
so far too eventful.
Obviously that came about. What were you up to in lockdown 1?
So I'll start in January. I just started my first freelance job, like a proper one, and that was really good. Working there like 3 or 4 times a week up until, let's say, March. Was it lockdown? Was lockdown March or April?
I think so.
Yeah, April.
Around March.
April, yeah.
And at the time, as I was working for a sports studio, so they said to me, we want you to work for the PFA Awards. So I was starting to work for the Premier League.
Nice.
And they were just about to send me a laptop out in the post. Then lockdown happens and the event was cancelled.
Nah.
So basically, my dream job was gone in the first 3 months of the year. So that was absolutely heartbreaking. Plus, then you got the fact that people in my family are high risk. So I couldn't work for 6 months at the BBC. And because you're a freelancer who's just left uni, you fall through every single crack that the government set. So I didn't earn a penny from March to July, I think.
Yeah.
The only income was Twitch streaming. That was it. That was the only income. So I was trying to push that Amazon Prime, but, you know, it came eventually.
Oh, man.
But there's loads more throughout the whole 6 months. But yeah, that was the basic of it, really.
So, like, did you have, obviously, your family to support you there on that front, really?
Yeah, so I live at home.
Yeah.
I'm only 22. I was 21 at the time, so rent didn't exist. I mean, I had housekeeping, but if rent was a thing, I'd be homeless. Like, there's no question about it. Like, my savings wouldn't have kept me out for 6 months. I mean, I saved on travel, but rent would be like $1,000 a month. There's no chance I would have survived. So, luckily, my family sort of know, and they say, "Listen, we'll let you not pay housekeeping and just sort of keep it to yourself." But it wasn't stressful, but it was at the same time. Like, I knew there was no expectation of me, but you want to be saving money, you want to be earning money, and not feeling like you're just sat indoors all day playing Football Manager, thinking, "Is this my life for the next 6 months?" But yeah, it kind of luckily worked out. I got a family behind me that can support me if need be.
Yeah, that's
good.
tough, man. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it
tough
is.
though. Like, to kick off, like,
Yeah.
especially that, or like send your laptop out, get a job sorted and everything.
Yep.
That'll happen. Like, that is gutting, man. Like, so
Yeah.
have they been in touch since, or do you think is that gone now?
That's just gone. That's gone. I mean, I was working for basketball for the same company.
Yeah.
They wanted Premier League people, so they got me involved because they heard I was working for basketball. So then that contact, the person in charge got made on furlough and got made redundant. So my contact for that scene is all gone. So so that's completely out there. But yeah, it was my dream job, all gone in a matter of a week. They was like, "Oh yeah, we'll take you up to Manchester where the event's being held. You can be a runner on the night, like meet all these players, help produce stuff." And then yeah, a matter of a space of a few days, it just went all completely went.
It feels bad now, but minor setback for a major comeback.
Yeah, exactly. Like what I mean.
If
what
you've
I'm
got
doing,
if you've got yourself in there now, like then you can do it again.
Yeah, I mean the job that I'm in now is arguably better, and I mean it would have. True.
You
It's not for a West Ham fan. I mean, I've got a West Ham kind of logo behind me. It's not the better job, but
you're wearing a Spurs jacket.
Yeah, I know. I'm wearing Spurs stuff to work. I mean, it's free. I got some nice Nike shoes from it. We'll take that and a bag. But yeah, it's a sacrifice you've got to make for some.
You literally go to work with a cock on your chest.
literally that. Yeah.
So what is it? What is it you do now? What work are you into?
So I'm still freelancing. Still doing BBC News. I came back from that in like July, doing like 2 days a week there, and then I work for Spurs Women as an assistant producer. So basically, make all the videos for them, film all the games, all the interviews, highlights, everything. So I'm loving it. It's like my dream. It's apart from not being West Ham, it's literally my dream job. There's nothing I'd rather do, and it gives me 2 days a week to do streaming as well. So
yeah,
I'm more
and
than
you're
happy
filming
with that.
Alex Morgan.
Yeah, exactly. Interviewed her a few times.
Say that, like they've
Literally, 15-year-old me would not believe that you're sat there. You're stood there a metre away from Alex Morgan, or 2 metres away from Alex Morgan, interviewing us. It's mental. It's crazy. Like, I was a little bit starstruck when I first met her. I mean, I'm name dropping. You say Bates and I say Alex Morgan. There's kind of a bit of levels there, but
to be fair, she's
I'd rather
met
Bates
LonghurstLive.
I'd rather Bates.
She's
Yeah,
met Longest.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. She probably looked up the tactic video that's got a ridiculous amount of views on YouTube.
And to be fair, she doesn't know who ex-West Ham United employee is.
Exactly, I do.
Yeah,
exactly.
do.
So,
man,
humble brag.
Man's in the know.
Exactly. All the A-list celebrities, X and Alex Morgan.
Are they in the Women's Super League? Are they Spurs? I assume they are. They've signed her. To be fair,
their second season for the Super League. They've got some good players, but they're basically like. So everyone joins them thinking they're Spurs men, like thinking they're like the level of that like European football. But in reality, they're more of an Aston Villa, like second season of the league. Some of their players that came down from the Championship, so they weren't professional.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a massive gulf in quality between second and top division, like so much. So that some of the players aren't really up to the level that Alex Morgan and like some of the American players are. There's some players there that I've always said that women's football technically is really good if you actually watch it and sort of pay attention. Some of the players are great footballers. It's just a physical level.
Goalkeepers are shit, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't want to be.
That is the problem. No, it'll get better as it evolves. As more of a professional sport, it'll get better. Like when I watch women's football, I'm like, there is good technical players, but the goalkeepers just let it down. Like, whenever you watch it, that's the one bit. Like because you want it to be as good as the men's game, but the goalkeeper, I don't know what it is, but.
They're quite small, aren't they?
It just needs a bit of time. I think it's because I know, and they said about like reducing the size of the goals and things, and then they didn't want it to be different from the men's game and stuff. And they said about women's. This is just about development. It will take time for them to get where they need to get, because you actually watch the technical side of it, and they're not bad, but it's just the goalkeeping can be horrific. Yeah, and I think I watched. Who was it last night? there was someone played. It was like in the Papa John's or something, wasn't it? And there was a goalkeeper made like 2 horrific mistakes. One of them, the ball bounced over the top of him. There, like so, there's blokes in men's football that are at a high level that make shit mistakes as well. But yeah, it's whenever I watch women's football, it's the goalkeeping that. That's what spoils it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I'll say, I don't want to be too biased towards it, but I mean the technical level. Like the first touch and the passing is almost level with sort of elite, not elite players, but sort of Championship Premier League players at some points. There are some touches you're like, wow, she's really, really good at football. But then the physical level, it's not necessarily genetics, it's more down to sort of behind the scenes stuff as well, like gym work, and the facilities aren't up to the men. So you can't really expect a woman that's stayed just under 6 foot to be able to reach where Courtois can reach. So I don't think smaller goals is unrealistic. It's more about the equality, but then you also got the thing of, is it fair to have the same goals? I mean, it's not unfair on them, but you know what I mean?
It is a development thing, though, isn't it? Because women's genetics are different from men. So men's football has been data driven for so long that they know how to know what to do with a man. And just because it works with a man doesn't mean it works with a woman. So they've got all this developing to do with sports science and everything to get them to that level. So it's not about comparing them, but as I say, the only technically, I've seen a few. I've watched a couple of the West Ham games, and it's really, really good. It just, as I say, the goalkeeping is terrible.
Yeah.
Great for goals.
They do make some wonder saves. I was at Chelsea away versus Spurs, and there was a save, top corner, that I thought, Jesus Christ, that is an unbelievable save. I've not seen a save from a women's footballer that good. It was incredible. But it is getting there. Like I said, the women's pro league's only been around for a few years, so they've only been professional footballers for way less than the men's have. So there's a long way to go, but it is improving. Like the first time I worked for women's football was 2 years ago. Since then, it's come on massively.
Are you enjoying it?
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Good.
Yes.
Are there transfer fees involved for women's football?
Yeah, there are transfer fees. They're not massive like the men's football is, obviously. I think it's more in terms of the women's players earn more through sponsorships and appearances and stuff like that, especially over the pandemic, like Skype calls and things like that. I think the average wage, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, I don't know any players' wages, but I heard people say, that's a random person at a behind closed door game saying they're sort of on the same salary as sort of League 1 average, League 2 average. Yeah. So it's still a decent salary, well. But they have to be.
I was going to say, if you go on YouTube, there is a West Ham documentary in there with Dave.
Yeah. He calls me. Is it Jack
and that is quite good behind the scenes. And the money is not anywhere near the men's game at all.
No,
like they're signing players for like 50 grand and stuff like that.
Because they have to be professional, so you have to train every day. So there are some stories of some women footballers not earning enough to live, but they can't find another job because they're trapped in being a professional footballer. Whereas that would never happen for a men's team. That would never happen for an elite men's team.
I know the Wolves women are, I want to say they're 3rd division, and they were unbeaten, or they were top of the league by like 20 points last season when lockdown happened, and they void the season. They null and voided it, so they had to stay in the same division, the Wolves women. And now this season they're smashing teams because like they've stayed at that level. They've even signed a lot of the players that left and went. I think a couple did go to Spurs and they've come back to Wolves, and like they're winning games like 11-12-0 like every week. It's ridiculous. And like, but even then, I'm pretty sure that they're able to train at the Wolves facilities, like the men's facilities. They've gone. I think they're pushing them to go professional if they haven't already. But during the summer, they were training at the local park, like the Wolves women. Like we were playing on a pitch, and then like the Wolves women came like, "Oh, we need to train on here now." So they're like, "Oh, alright, sound."
Yeah.
I like it.
The facilities are different worlds.
Yeah, be interesting. I mean, it's developing, like Joe said. It's developing. It's evolving. It'll be interesting where it's at in the next few years. I think more money being pumped into it. Even like fairly high profile men are going into it in management. Obviously, you have Phil Neville. It'll be interesting to see. I want to see. There was I think it was in America. One of the women's coaches was touted quite highly for, I think it was DC United or something like that, to take the men's job.
Yeah, I mean, Emma Hayes, I think her name's Emma Hayes, the Chelsea manager.
Chelsea one,
She was tipped for the Chelsea job. She is a good manager, a very good manager. I'd like to see it happen, but I don't think any club will take a risk. There's no need for someone.
I think she's the kind of person that someone like Salford will give a job to.
Yeah.
It's like a proper Gary Neville thing, and it like give her a chance in the men's game. It'd be good. She seems, she's more than capable.
Yeah.
It's weighing up the pros and cons, whether you wanted the publicity of having a woman's manager, but then also possibly having a negative of someone that's not experienced in managing a squad of 25 at least men as such. It can't be hard for an athlete to.
It will be interesting.
That change.
It'll be interesting if because I think, to be fair, if one person does it, or if one club does it and it's a failure, the chances are you're not going to see it for a massive number of years again.
Yeah.
But if it works, like the bridge is going to be, so many clubs are probably going to look to do it. I think I've seen it because they used to show the women's football show like after match of the day too, didn't they, on a Sunday night?
Yeah.
The only issue I'd have, and this is no disrespect to women, like if men would take the manager serious enough, if it was a woman, but at the same time, she seems pretty strict, to be fair. So I think she would be a good boss. But yeah, I'm sure it was a team in the MLS. Yeah. What?
Dave, who are you more scared of, your mum or your dad?
It's probably my dad. Actually, I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah.
It's definitely your mum.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. Probably is. Yeah.
When you get married, you're scared of your wife.
The thing is interesting though, in terms of management, the Spurs team is a 50-50 split between two managers. One's a woman, one's a man. And they have 50-50 responsibility. I'm not sure how it works out behind the scenes. If there's a sub, someone's got to be like yes and no, who takes the lead. But yeah, they've got two managers, which is an interesting mix.
I suppose the woman manager is probably the one that gets to go in the dressing room, innit? They probably have to be really careful with the bloke.
No, I think they both go in there, I'm pretty sure. I mean, other teams have men managers, so I assume the dressing room must be open to... Yeah, I'm not sure how it works behind the scenes, but yes, it's a weird or an interesting mix.
Yeah.
Hey, you're a cameraman.
Yeah.
Get in there.
I'm not going in the dressing room with a camera. Jesus Christ.
All or nothing.
What did you take me for?
Yeah.
Well, you said you needed some money.
Well, that's good.
And with your binoculars as well.
On that video.
It's all unravelling now.
What else were you up to then? Obviously, other than streaming in lockdown 1, what did you do in your sort of spare time? Were you able to go out much, or were you sort of?
I was running most days.
Mm-hmm.
Football in the park with my brother. There's a park literally just around the corner, so I just went there most days, kicked about for like a couple hours. Sat on the girlfriend's drive for like a couple of hours every other day. But yeah, that's just. There's not much to do, is there really? I mean, I just sat on the drive and we just chatted from like a distance for a good few months at least.
What?
But yeah.
Have you always been jogging, or is that like a lockdown thing?
I mean, I've always played football.
Yeah.
I haven't been a runner though. I find running too boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like running for me is if you give a football on my feet, I'll run for ages. But just running with headphones and I can't stand it. But I thought, you know what? There's no football on. I might as well give it a go. So I downloaded Nike Run App and just went for 5Ks. And it went pretty well.
I need
but
to
now
start
I've stopped.
doing that.
I don't care anymore.
I need to do more exercise, but I just haven't got the motivation for it, man. So many people say that though. Like when you start running, it's like almost like an addiction. Like you always want to go on a run and stuff. It's just
but the minute you stop, it's hard to get back into it. I feel like like I have no motivation to go out and run now because I had football and football's gone again. So I'll probably get back into it at some stage, but it's too cold and dark.
Yeah,
I'm not.
So in terms of working, obviously you've got your jobs now. Like, are they short-term things or are they sort of permanent fixed things at the moment?
I mean, with a freelance, I don't know if people sort of know much about it, but you basically just get called up to shifts. I mean, with Spurs, it's the best job. I've had a few freelance jobs, 3 or 4. The Spurs one is the best because, I mean, I get a month notice of when I'm working.
Okay.
3 days a week, pretty much guaranteed, so I can work out budgets for that. But in terms of BBC... I could get a text right now saying someone's ill, come in, can you come in tomorrow? And I'll have to say yes or no. If I say no, I don't work. If I do, I go in. But I'm not really tied down. I'm more tied down to Spurs because that's obviously weekly football. It's constantly happening. But other companies I can kind of say yes or no. It's just more if I feel like, not if I feel like earning money, but if I want to risk not taking money to say like FM launch. If I don't want to accept shifts because of that, I'll just say no, I'm busy this week. And that'll just work like that, really.
Do you ever think that, like, if they text and you say no, that they're not going to come back to you? Or...
Yeah, I had that fear at the start. I accepted every single shift. I'd work. I would accept every shift that I could. But then I'm emailing them now saying, I do still like working for the company. I just can't do it. Because I kind of feel guilty because at the same time, it's your responsibility because you've signed up for it, but you're not on a contract, so you can just say no, and there's no obligation to do it.
It works both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
they don't want you on a full-time contract, so it works both ways.
Yeah, the risk for Spurs for me is that if I mess up an edit or mess up a highlights or whatever, I'm scared I'll just turn around and go, we don't want you anymore. It is a risk, but it's not. I don't think it's a realistic one. I think it's just an overthinker, and you just say you've got a full-time job, you know your contract's there, and you know if you're about to get sacked. Yeah. Whereas here, I could get a text saying, or I could never get a text again from BBC. That's literally what it could be. That's what happened with the sports studio that I work in. I haven't heard anything back from lockdown since before lockdown. So yeah, and that was the best earner. So
I suppose you got good experience there though. Like if that ever did happen, like the jobs, like you could say you've worked at Spurs Women doing all the video stuff. You've worked at BBC. They're two. Yeah. I mean, they ain't small brands or companies. You know what I mean? Like that's two very big names to put on your CV, really.
There was a stage where I was looking for full-time work about probably 2 months ago, just before the Spurs thing came up, and I was thinking, right, okay, I want to get a full-time job. It's the last 6 months have taught me that anything can happen. If I want to save up to move out, I need to actually get a salary, because freelancers don't get mortgages very easily because obviously your income's not stable. Yeah. I don't want to make it a financial stream, but I might as well talk about it. But then all of a sudden I got an email I contacted one of her contacts, and she said I got a job at Spurs if you're interested. And that just came out of the blue, and I was thinking, I'm so glad I didn't take a full-time job at somewhere I don't enjoy, because it's always the industry of film and sort of editing. But if I didn't enjoy the company, then what would be the point? And then Spurs came along, I was like, oh my God, this is the dream. This is unreal. But it lets me stream. I want to. It's so unrealistic to say it, but I want to become a sort of full-time YouTube/streaming person. But Spurs allows me to do 3 days a week, and if streaming kicks off, then I got the 2 days.
I like that
to fully focus on it. Yeah. Like, that has always been a dream. Like since Minecraft, hunting for diamonds on YouTube years ago, it's been the dream.
Minecraft. Yeah, I like that though. You got everyone's got to have the aspirations, and that's what it's all about. And like when the Spurs one came about, because you're a West Ham fan, did you think, oh, should I take it, or are you not bothered about that sort of things working it?
I'm not bothered about that sort of stuff. I'm bothered about wearing I'm bothered about wearing the uniform when I'm going from Essex to Spurs, and I'm on the train at West Ham station. Everyone's just sort of looking at me like, what is this guy doing in full Spurs kit with like Nike trainers? I'm thinking, Jesus Christ.
They must think you're an academy player. You're all right,
yeah. I've been asked before when I worked at West Ham during uni. I worked for West Ham for a year for free, and I got asked within the West Ham gear if I was an academy player. I was in M&S, and the woman goes, "Shouldn't you be playing today?" I was like, "What? No." Yeah. But yeah, there was a stage when I just joined Spurs.
Yeah, but I'm injured.
Yeah, just pull my hammy.
Getting my shopping. Yeah. But there's a stage when I joined Spurs, a West Ham job came up, and I was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing and best thing that could happen to me. But I didn't. I literally said, no, I'm not doing it. Yeah. I'm happy at Spurs. Because if you took the names out, I'm being funny. Like as a West Ham fan, I don't want to slate them, but if you took the names away, you have a European club. Top four.
Spurs is a bigger team
with elite facilities, or you're a mid-table Premier League club relegation battle. The experiences of possibly in the future going men's team and travelling to Europe in Champions League is never going to happen for West Ham. It's just not. So
it's run by the Dildo Brothers.
So it's you got to be selfish and not have a bias for West Ham. Like it feels weird wearing a Spurs badge, and it feels weird seeing Mourinho rather than
everyone can take the piss out of you. Everyone can take the piss. But it's a good job.
Oh yeah,
and if you was a footballer, who would you be choosing, Spurs or West Ham?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's one of them, innit? You got to be realist.
Yeah, because a few of my mates are Spurs fans, and some of them are older than me, so they're earning more than I am technically, because I'm a freelance thing. But they all go to me, "You're living the dream job." Like if I put a story on Instagram about Alice Morgan, they were like, "You live in the dream life." Like I wish I could do your job. So you do take it for granted that you are living an experience that not many people do get to experience, because I'm watching football live when the rest of the world can't. It's women's football, but I am experiencing without crowds. It is weird, but I'm watching live football and I'm in the editing suites, and I turn around and Mourinho stood there smiling at me, going hello, and I'm just like, what is going on? It is surreal.
That is class, isn't it? That is class.
It is.
Love it. So during lockdown, though, obviously you're saying you're living with your family. You've obviously spent time at the park with your brother, sat on the driveway and stuff. How did you cope? With the situation with friends or family? Obviously, you got some family with you. Have you got other extended family that you were able to keep in contact with, or?
Yeah. So my nan, who's like 90 odd, she lives about a 5-10 minute walk away, and my mum pretty much cares for her. So I saw her quite often with the support bubble when that came into effect. I was finally allowed to see her after a couple of months. But my granddad, he died in April during lockdown. So it was it wasn't due to COVID or anything, but the funeral was very, very surreal because it wasn't a funeral. It doesn't feel like I've had a funeral for him. So 18 months ago, I lost 2 other grandparents, and this funeral, you just think there would have been so many. It's like there's so many people that would want to be there, and it's just me, my mum, my dad, my brother, and his girlfriend. So my brother's girlfriend lives with us. So it's just us 5 over a grave, and you're thinking, this is the weirdest world that we could possibly live in. Because on a normal day, there's like people all around you, and you go to the pub afterwards for a wake, and you're just sat there like, no one can. This isn't a funeral. This is just a weird thing. And it's, like I said before we was on air, I said so much has happened in the last 6 months, but that was probably the most surreal thing where it sort of kicked in. Like, this doesn't really feel real. It's and struggling with grief when you're locked in your house is possibly the hardest thing you can go through. Definitely, like I've never been depressed. I can't say I've had depression, but it was the lowest I've ever been for sure. Like it was bad. It was sad, rather not bad.
Does get you, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it does get you.
Yeah,
I was thankful because I remember messaging you because my granddad died literally a month before yours, and I'm grateful that we got to have a funeral. It was literally just before, and I spoke to a couple of other people that were in the same situation, and they like you. I had like 5 or 6 people at a funeral, and it's just you just think it's the time you get to pay your respects.
Yeah. Like
and they're not being recognised like they should be.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it's a tough time, mate. And
but I mean, my family were really close. We are really close, and my girlfriend lives 10 minutes walk away as well. So I walked around there and just sat on the drive. But it is good and bad being stuck with your family. Like I've always been close to my family. Always got along quite well. But there are arguments when you can't really go anywhere. And
you're stuck together.
And it was. I'll be honest. It was hard. I mean. It was hard for me. I don't want to come across as what they call a simp nowadays, but it's hard for me when your brother's. I mean, I'll get personal about it. Your brother's living with his girlfriend, and you're sort of sat there on your own. Like, I can't even see my girlfriend. Like, I haven't hugged my girlfriend in 6 months. That does get to you. It really does, and I think it's. I think I don't want to sound cringy, but I've sort of been better for it. Like you don't take it for granted anymore. I don't think. Or as much, and you still take everything for granted because you're not actually on the poverty line. You're just locked indoors, but you take less things for granted.
Definitely,
for sure.
Have you been able to go on walks with her since the lockdown was sort of slightly lifted, or not?
What's that? Sorry,
your girlfriend. Have you been able to go on walks, or not?
Yeah. It's been slightly back to normal, and then it's gone again in the last week. But
one of them.
Yeah, it's just adjusting, but because we were quite new.
It'll soon be over. It'll soon be over, and you won't be able to stream or make videos anymore. So make the most of it.
No, the streaming stayed. The streaming has stayed since being in a relationship. It's just the evenings.
It's the weekends, man, for me. Friday, Saturday, Sundays are just write-offs.
Weekend league is no more in this household for me. I can't play weekend league. I can't. FIFA's no go. But like we was quite new when lockdown happened, so I was only with her for 2 months before lockdown happened.
Oh wow, yeah.
So in the back of my head, I was thinking this could not last. Like you just think that. So then you do have doubts, but then you realise that it's just literally you are just 10 minutes away. It's all you can't do is hug and kiss her, which is. Yeah. Which will end. I thought at the time in April, you think, okay, it's a month. Then it gets to August. You're like, okay, a couple months. Then it's just never ending.
No, I spoke to my girlfriend about an hour ago, and I said, like, you want to go on a walk on Saturday? She goes, wouldn't you want to be streaming? I was like, yeah, probably, actually, yeah. But,
she knows.
Yeah, got to keep him happy, though.
You two might as well be married anyway.
No. obviously you spoke briefly about obviously your low points during lockdown. Obviously this is about what we're trying to promote. Obviously people talking about mental health and so on. Like, do you think that's the lowest you've ever been? Like, were you able to speak out to people? I mean, everyone grieves in their own ways. Like, so difficult. But like, or have you had sort of past experiences? Have you been able to reach out to people?
Yeah, so it probably wasn't my lowest. It was probably the hardest point.
Mm-hmm.
So 18 months ago, when I was in third, my life just seemed such a struggle, but it's really not. So third year of uni, I was doing my dissertation, and like a week or so before it was handed in, my granddad died, and then a week later, my nan, who from my other side of my family, she died.
Oh, man.
So I lost two that was the first, apart from my dog, that was the first experience of loss I've ever had. So in a space of a week, half my grandparents died. So that was the worst I've been. And I mean, I'm open about my feelings. Like, I happily say how I'm feeling. Like, I'm not scared of crying. Like, I'm not going to lie. I do not care about if someone thinks I'm crying for a bad reason. I'll not happily do it, but yeah. I'm not going to hide my feelings. So I'm pretty open with that. My mates are really supportive. They all knew what was going on. University weren't so much, but they don't care about you, so it's okay. We'll ignore that bit. But yeah, then obviously lockdown happened. That's probably the hardest situation because it wasn't the lowest, because I had experienced death before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the situation of being trapped indoors and only being able to have support through texting and phone calls and not any personal interaction apart from your family who are also grieving is a weird one. But
I think everyone deals with that in different ways. I lost my granddad. It was only early days of secondary school, so I think I was probably only 13, 14, so like, maybe even a bit younger. So I sort of understood it, but at the same time, like, you don't like quite understand it. Like, I was a little bit younger, and I turned up, and obviously he was going through his treatment. He used to have like jet black, really thick hair. Turned up one weekend, he's got no hair, and I didn't understand it at the time. And obviously when it grew back, it was like quite grey. And I remember, like, they had to bring his bed downstairs and everything like that, like, because he just couldn't get up the stairs. And the last few times I saw him, I remember I went to the dentist to have my teeth out because I was having braces done. So I turned up, I had this big, like, cotton wool shoved in my mouth, so I couldn't speak to him. But he was there, and it was annoying because it was that age. Like, he was the one, like, in hindsight now, he was the one that started taking me to towards matches, like, everything like that. Like, he was a really good artist, so, like, I know it's different with the graphic art and stuff, but that's always where everyone says, like, you get that sort of artistic look, like, feel from. But I was just saying, like, I was at that weird age. I was able to go to the funeral and so on, and I was really upset at the time as well. But, like, I've still got 3 other grandparents who obviously, you know, getting on a little bit now as well. But I think everyone deals in different ways. It's so tough. It's so tough. Like, it's just one of those.
It's like, a smack in the teeth, isn't it?
Yeah, even within my family, there's different ways of dealing with it. Like, my brother dealt with it completely different to I did. But yeah, it's something that nothing can prepare you for.
No,
like, you can't be prepared for it because you don't know what it's going to be like. I mean, I was really close. Like I said earlier, my grandparents lived 10 minutes away, and they live opposite each other in bungalows, so we was all really close. Like, we'd pop over to one and pop over to the other.
Yeah.
And then now to see, I'll go out to my nan's, who's the last remaining grandparent. I'll go look across the road and it's not their house anymore. Stuff like that does hit you still sometimes.
Mate, that was the hardest thing for me when my granddad died. It weren't. Not that I was kind of glad in a way because I didn't want him to suffer.
Oh, yeah, that's
he weren't that kind of person. Like, when he wouldn't wanted to live anyway. So
that's exactly the same.
He was happy with that, and it was just my nan crying. Like, I'd never seen my nan cry, and it was like that was the thing that got me every single time. And, you know, she's been solid, mate, since. And I've you know, it's just weird because she's literally went out of secondary school, got married.
That was it.
Like, and that's all she's done. She's never, like, she's literally been a housewife. All she done was look after him his whole life. And then, like, towards the end of his life, like, she was having to, like, lift him up off the sofa and get him in bed and take him, like, bath him and stuff like that. And, like, she was struggling. Like, you know, it was a real chore for her every day. And then, obviously, when he's passed away, like, she hasn't got to do that anymore. And, like, every time you spoke to her, it was just like, you know, she's like, he wouldn't have wanted to be here. Like, you know, I'm like, look, it's good for you, Nan. Like, you haven't got to struggle anymore. You know, all she had to deal with was living on her own. And she's never been on her own. So what a strange thing to have lived in the same house for like 60 years or whatever, and now all of a sudden you're there on your own, and it's little things like he'd take her up a cup of tea in the morning, and she'll go, "Oh, don't get me a cup of tea in the morning anymore." And you're like, "Oh, fucking hell!" Like, so it's like sometimes the struggle is, it's for the best that they go. You don't want them to be in pain. It's the people they leave behind, and like especially like my nan. Like I said through lockdown, I was like, all I wanted to do was just go and see my nan to make sure she was all right. Because it's and even now, like in this second lockdown, I've just had my second child, and my nan hasn't seen her yet.
Oh, really?
And it's like just because of the timings of it, and she's like, "Oh, I really want to see her." I'm like, "Yeah, I will. I'll just bring her over." And to be fair, I probably will just go, fuck Boris, and go and do it. But it's one of them that I try to kind of toe the line as much as I can. But it's my nan, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing with second lockdown coming around. I think people aren't, and many people aren't following it, but I think you have to use common sense. Like, what harm are you going to get? I mean, I'm going to be selfish here. If you're watching, I apologise. If you work for NHS, whatever, I apologise. I'm not doing it myself. But say, for example, your long-term benefits is your nan seeing your child over the chances of your nan if she's still indoors on her own. She ain't going to get it from anyone apart from you. So it's down to your risk, I feel like, with that. But so my nan, who's round she's round every day, apart from the weekends. She's round every day because my mum cares for her pretty much. So I see her all the time. So
it's nice.
It is nice because it's because she's quite old. You don't think it's the last time, but sort of it's nice even lockdown to have your grandparent around because you never know.
I mean, Matt went for a similar thing, Nerdphonic, recently as well. And like with my granddad, he had to have a heart operation. He went in on Christmas Eve. Like he was just like, "Look, I'm waiting for a space to come up so I can get an appointment." And they said, "Oh, you can come in on Christmas Eve." He's like, "Yeah, happy days." Like we were like, "Oh, do you not want to have Christmas?" He's like, "No, just get in and get it done. Like, I don't care." And he was in there for a couple of days, come home. He was a bit dizzy, a bit fainty, and he had to go back in, come back out again. And I was actually at another like a family friend's funeral, and I'd had this stinking cold. And to be honest, it was like COVID symptoms type thing, but like everyone had the flu in January. And I was like, I'm not going to go and see him because he's still recovering. Like he's lots of medication at home. He literally had his from pretty much like here down to his belly button opened up to like have this heart operation. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to go and see him to give him the flu. And then then obviously he died. So I hadn't seen him since before Christmas because of like obviously respecting the fact that we didn't want to give him any illness, just wanted him to recover. And I'm like, fuck that, just go around and see him. This is why I'm saying with my daughter now, I'm like, I'll just go and take her to see my nan because it could happen like that, that something happens to my nan and then she would have never met her great granddaughter. So it's just, but mate, there's lots of people not respecting lockdown, mate. I've sat in 2 traffic jams this week.
Yeah,
there's no way people are respecting lockdown.
My opinions is that if you're gonna break lockdown, fair enough. But if you have a serious reason to do it, then do it because you don't know. Like I was lucky enough to say goodbye to my grandparents before they died. 2 of them. Obviously, lockdown one, my granddad didn't be able to say goodbye to him, but before lockdown I could, and that will always be a nice thing that you can go and see them. But with lockdown, my granddad, you don't really know when the last time is. So it's like if everyone, I think it's kind of the government's fault that no one's respecting it. I mean, I don't blame people. I mean, I'd break it if I really had the choice to. I'm not going to lie and say I wouldn't because the benefits of seeing your nan with their great grandkid is more than.
And I think that's that's an honourable thing, but it's like the gatherings and things like that. I think the problem with the government is it's all like suggestions, isn't it? It's not it's not enforced with anything. That's the problem. If they say do not go out, there is a curfew. And so unless you're driving to work or you're going to a shop, like what reason have you got to be out? But it just won't happen. So people just go, I'll just carry on doing what I want.
Say you have a party of 10, then that shouldn't be allowed, obviously. But I mean, that's just don't take liberties. Is my because I think we've all experienced enough in the first lockdown to know what shouldn't. Well, what will and won't happen.
People got to be sensible, aren't they? But like me being sensible, you and us being sensible is different to some other people thinking they're sensible.
Yeah,
like there's videos of these raves and that, and they're like,
there's a 600 person rave, wasn't there?
What are you doing? Like, in at least in 100 plus people's heads? Why do you think that's okay? Like, like it's just daft. All it takes is like 2 or 3 of you to have it, and like 100 of you are gonna have it. It's just mad. Absolutely mad. Moving on though, this is the fun part of the podcast, Sam. We like to find out a bit more about you and
age, sex, location.
Yeah. First one we always talk about is books. Do you read books? Are you a fan of books, or have you got any books that you'd recommend that you've read in the past?
The only time I read books is on holiday.
Yeah.
And that's not very often. I read Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I'm on Game of Thrones, the book. I'm still on the first one. I've been on it for 3 years. I can't lie. I only read it either on the plane, or by the pool if I'm not in the pool.
Yeah.
So I'm not really a book. E-books are fine. Audiobooks are fine. I'll happily listen to it. Like I love listening to podcasts, but I can't anymore. Since I left school, I can't really pay attention to. But I don't really want to read a book. I'm not a book person. I'm not.
Yeah. I don't blame.
Davies.
No, I'm definitely not either. No.
Look at that book.
What's your favourite book in that book?
Oh my word!
Behind you? Get your favourite one out.
God, that is short, isn't it?
It's like being on live with Bateson from behind.
Mate, I don't know why. There's about 4 different Bibles in there. There's some dictionaries, thesaurus. I don't know what's going on in there. I don't think I've read any of them books, if I'm honest. I haven't read one of them books. There's a Harry Potter's up there.
Oh, I love Harry Potter books. I'll read them, but that's years ago.
Yeah, I don't think I've read. There's even DVDs over there.
Oh, what DVDs?
We've got a bit of pulp here.
Bit of what?
Pulp.
Yeah, pulp.
Oh, okay.
Football my arse. I don't know what it's about. I think it's just shit football, basically. So yeah.
Is it like one of them Ollie Murs Christmas DVDs where he goes through spoofs and
mistakes? I think that's what it was. I had one with Ian Wright as well.
I had the Ollie Murs one. My voice broke there.
Yeah.
Ignore that.
Pitch battles, unseen footage from around the world of pitch footballers fighting. Yeah, who knows?
That's definitely a Christmas present.
Yeah,
for sure.
It probably was. Or £1 from the pound shop or whatever. But yeah, other than that, I definitely haven't read any of them. Joe, have you got any recommendations for a book today?
I'll bring it out for Football Manager. I thought I wouldn't go for a book.
Go on.
I'd go for
a
Scouted Football Handbook.
So what are they like then?
I don't know if anyone's...
Go on.
Well, you'd love it because you're a bit of an artiste, aren't you, Dave?
Yeah.
So it's literally just breaking down a lot of like Wonder Kid style players. A bit of Trincao there, Football Manager legend. But it's like a little, I don't know, 2-page biography or scouting report of players. They're quite cool. You know, they get a lot of players right as well. So there's players in there that you go, I've had a look at them, and they turn out all right in Football Manager. So there you go. Scouted football.
Top tips.
Have they? Is that like a subscription thing, or do you have to buy them all separately?
You can subscribe to it. You can buy the handbooks separately. You can get digital copies of it.
How much are they?
I think the digital copies, if you've got it on your iPad or whatever, are probably about £3 or something.
Oh.
They're not a lot. I think the handbooks are about a tenner.
Oh, okay.
But they're quite cool, and they look good on the bookcase as well.
And well, you mentioned podcasts. We'll move on to podcasts next. So, like, which ones are your favourite podcasts to listen to?
I do a little bit of a rotation. So Luke and Pete show. I'm a fan of that. I used to listen to Football Ramble and the Guardian Football Weekly a lot. That was more the university. Atletico Mints.
I've heard of that. I've not listened to that one, but yeah.
Bob Mortimer,
yeah, it's class. That's my favourite one, but it's not out too often. But that's by far the best podcast I listen to.
What was the first one you said? Sorry.
Luke and Pete show.
Luke and Pete. So Luke and Pete from Football Ramble.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, I'm not a big podcast listener, so that's why I've never heard of that. To be fair, so
yeah, when the Football Ramble went going daily content, that's when I stopped listening to it, and I don't know why I stopped listening to it. I think it was just it felt like there was too much to consume. Like you constantly, because if I'm not listening to an audiobook, I'll listen to a podcast on my commute, and I have my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday podcast to listen to. So it's I know what podcasts, so I'm always kind of up to date with them because I listen to them on certain days. If I started trying to go for daily content, it's too much for me.
Yeah. Yeah, Luke and Pete's Mondays and Thursdays. So that's my set in stone routine.
See, my Mondays and Thursdays is Price of Football.
I've never heard of that.
It's good. It's good for football finance. If you don't like football finance, then Wouldn't bother.
Okay. I'll have a little nose. I'll have a listen.
And then final one, Netflix or Amazon Prime TV shows, or what you get. I mean, you said you're reading Game of Thrones. I'd assume you've watched the show, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. See, I wasn't as disappointed as everyone else thought when the season ended. I wasn't as heartbroken as some people were. But
what happened?
I'm not I can't be saying that. But in terms of current shows, just finished watching New Girl with my girlfriend. Yeah. It's a very, very good show. If you guys haven't seen it, it's not a girly show. It sounds like a girly show, but it's not. It's really good.
Finished watching that recently as well.
It's really good. What else am I watching? Rewatched Modern Family again. I just have that on the background and just have it on.
It's just easy watch TV, isn't it? Modern
exactly.
Family.
I can just not even care. I know what's happening. But also watching recently. What got me through lockdown 1 was Sunderland Till I Die.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the first series until we was in lockdown. So first and second series, binged that. The theme tune for it was so good. I was listening to it on like Spotify and runs. I was like, Jesus Christ, this song's amazing.
Do you know Dave's in the first series?
True story, actually. Yeah.
A true story. Dave is actually
in what way?
When Wolves play Sunderland, Dave was walking into the ground.
Basically, when they were making it, they emailed me because at the time they must have changed the way they were doing it. At the time, they were going to like interview people. So you've got some fans that are like the main part of it, haven't you? So I emailed them back, said yeah, sound, and I think they did interview people, but I was there late, so I never got interviewed in the end. But still, when
basically, if you go back to the last episode,
it's on the last episode. It's quite early on, isn't it?
You basically got like the Punjabi Wolves playing the drums and that, and then you see Dave.
I'm just there recording
with a full head of hair.
Yeah. Well, that was a slip back. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Classic as a party.
Vintage. Yeah.
They're my shows, really. I'm trying to think what else I've watched.
You got to watch All or Nothing Spurs, surely, no?
Oh yeah, of course I watched that. It's weird watching that and then a month or so later working for the club.
Was there many people that you worked with on that?
Yeah. I've seen. So the boards member, the woman called Donna.
Yeah.
She's in like the office that I'm in. Yeah. So I've spoken to her quite a bit. But yeah, even the person behind the scenes that was the link between Amazon and Spurs TV, like he's effectively one of my bosses. That's cool. But it is surreal. It's weird looking at that and seeing the people that have made it and actually learning about the club before you join the club. It was kind of like a little introduction to a club I didn't really care about. I don't care about still, really. But yeah, it was a nice little introduction to how things worked, and because it had just come out and just finished, it was more of a talking point between everyone. Like there's still parts of the show where people talk about even working for the club. There's still bits spoken about.
What about when Jose tells Sky to fuck off? Was that staged?
I haven't asked.
That's all I got fired.
But I from before I joined, my opinion is yes.
Yeah.
I think Amazon tweaked a few things. That's my from an editor perspective. There's no way that all lined up perfectly. There's just this. You can just tell that is okay. We're gonna just turn off the telly, Jose, and swear a little bit and stuff like that. But I think it was quite natural. The whole series as a whole. But I think some bits were scripted to make it better. But then every single thing you watch is no story is ever true on TV.
Yeah.
Like even Planet Earth. Do you know that scene where the lizard is trying to escape all the snakes?
Yeah.
That's not the same lizard. There's like many lizards. Like stuff like that. You'll never know it's real. But it's weird when you do a degree in film and telly. You like don't look at telly the same way. It's kind of bad, but it's kind of good.
Who said that? Tony Jameson. He said that though about film. He did film.
It's like
He said the same thing.
It's like magic as well. When you know how magic tricks are done, mate, ruins it for you.
Yeah, like I'll notice small like inconsistencies, and I'll think someone will be like, oh my god, how they do that, and I'll know how they done that, and it will it'll ruin the immersion a little bit, but at the same time you kind of feel a little bit. Like, I'm not like a massive TV nerd. I won't be like, oh my god, did you see how I done this? But I'll sort of be like, yeah, I kind of knew that was going to happen.
Tony Jameson called himself a film wanker, didn't he? Last week.
Just Sam can be a TV wanker.
I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those at all. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the type of person that sort of ruins stuff for people. I'll let people do whatever they want.
So Dave just watches TV and goes, that's a nice fireplace.
Yeah, that's what I do. Genuinely.
Corey could do some new fireplaces.
Watch Gogglebox, the celebrity one. I think it was I think it was Mo the comedian had a big fireplace, and I was like, it's a nice Belection fireplace. And he was like, what? Googled it, was the exact fireplace as well. My mate did it though. He texted me a few months ago. He goes, I've just gone to the girlfriend's house. Look at this nice fireplace. I said, that's a nice Global 70XT. He's like, what? How did you know the fire? I was like, that's what it is. Yeah.
That's the thing. Everyone's job kind of ruins a little bit of immersion. Yeah. Yours is fireplaces. Someone else's is a bit different.
Yeah.
It's just mine is more mainstream, where everything you watch, everything you consume is media, even social media. I look at that.
I think it's good. Like, it's good when you're good at your job, though. Like, that's one of the best. Like, I had a woman come in with a catalogue. She goes, "Oh, I really like this stove. Can you do anything similar?" I was like, looking at it, I was like, "Sure, has to scan 83." She goes, "What?" She goes, "What?" I googled it on the iPad. And it come up. She goes, "Oh, you are such a nerd." The woman. She's like, "She's such a nerd." I was like, "That's my job." It's like,
what's your favourite fireplace?
Hunter Herald.
No, not their shit. They are.
And stove. What's your go-to stove?
There's so many we
mid-budget.
Mid-budget.
New homeowner.
New homeowner. Well, it depends, because London budget, London, they charge you mad prices, like, compared to the Midlands. Like, we did a job a few years ago in London, and we quoted them for this fire. I think they probably paid, ridiculous amounts at the end. We charged them for installation, the fire, and for us to go there and stay in London for accommodation, and it was still, like, way cheaper than what someone in London had charged them. So, like, that was, like, I think the installation and labour costs...
That ain't surprising. That ain't surprising.
Well, like, whenever I've done stuff for Talking Walls in London, I charge them a price. They're like, yeah. And, like, someone says to me, like, nah, you've just been ripped off because it's London prices. You should just, like, charge.
So when I move out,
yeah,
I'll get you to come to London.
Yeah, because it'll be cheaper than anyone. It'll be cheaper than anyone round by you. Yeah.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind.
And anyone else, preferably in the Midlands area, but we'll do work on a special.
No, I've booked you in already. Make your calendar free in 4 or 5 years' time. We're good.
And we tend to ask people questions about Football Manager as well towards the end. Obviously, we've had FM21 has dropped. Quick early thoughts on that one.
I'm thinking it could be I think it could be one of the best games.
Yeah.
Personally, the match engine's massive.
I think the look
of it, the look of a game is everything.
Yeah.
I don't care what people say it is. It might play rubbish, but if it looks good, people will like it. I think the match UI isn't good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it is.
That's exactly what Raz said. Literally before we was recording this, he was like, "Mate, some of these through balls." And I was like, "If he's happy,
they've
ticked a box
Raz
there."
is in my chat saying he loves long balls. I'm like,
Route 1 merchant.
He literally, what they need to do now is not do a FIFA patch.
Yeah, that's what I said that on stream earlier. I said, I'm hoping Sports Interactive don't do what FIFA do and ruin it after week 1. They need to move shouts from the bottom left to the top right. That's all they've got to do.
That's what I said with press conferences. They need to do start press conference needs to be bottom right, not at the top.
They need to make the answers bigger because it's all like really squishy.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but the thing is with shouts is that if I want to pause the game and shout, or if I want to do something and shout, I'm looking at the top left for the score. Yeah. I'm looking at the time. I'm looking at the top right to pause, or like press space to pause it. But looking at the top right for like settings and that. Then the bottom left is for. I'm looking at 3 corners of the screen just to do with one thing. But
I think if you could set shouts ought to be like on your function keys.
Oh, that could be good.
Go on.
That could be really good. I also think they need to add when a player scores, you can't see assists. It doesn't say who's it assisted by.
Yeah, that annoyed me.
Whereas last year it came up on the top underneath saying assisted by. Yeah. So if there's a deflection, you don't know who's assisting to afterwards. Or you can count the numbers.
If you go on the forum.
I know. I'm doing it. I'm not one of those people that sits there in silence. And also Alphonso Davies, they've killed him, but I'm hoping that changes.
It's the pace merchants, mate. They're never that good.
But mate, I'm furious.
You look at Adama. You look at him.
18 dribbling.
Yeah, but you look at his attributes and you go, he's got about 4 good ones. Yeah. But he's beast mode in the game.
Mate.
Because the attributes that matter, he's good in.
Oh, mate, I've been playing him up front today.
Or the ones that you stand out, rather.
He scored 5 goals in a game against Southampton today. He was ridiculous.
Is that the 8-2 win?
Yeah. He was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. I was playing. We signed some shit Scottish striker. I don't know why we did it. And everyone's like, "You gotta play him." And I said, I'm gonna play Adama. Mate, he was just ridiculous.
Haaland's absurd.
Yeah.
He won in. I'm only up till. I'm on January now. In December, he won World Player of the Year, World Golden Boot, World everything, World Striker of the Year. I think he got 16 in 15, and in the league he got 9 in 11. but he's so clinical. It's ridiculous.
They're one-on-ones. Like a good striker now is going to score so many goals.
Yeah, like people in chat will ask me like how good are one-on-ones, and I don't even know. I've got Haaland, of course he scored them.
the thing is as well, like Football Manager tries to kind of replicate what's going on in real world football, and at the moment, like average goals per game is through the roof. Mm-hmm. So in the game, the goals should be absolutely raining in.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it too. Really good fun so far. Hopefully, it's going to be another good year for everyone involved. As always, Sam, thanks a lot for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a great chat. As always, guys, as well, let us know your thoughts on today's podcast in the comment section if you've got any questions. The interaction's been great recently. Be sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe to We Stream FM if you haven't already. The links for us three will be in the description, as well as the links for obviously the professionals out there. If you are struggling with your mental health, you want to talk to somebody, of course, get in touch in the description alongside the We Stream FM email address as well. But until next time, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'm sure we'll catch you all very, very soon. Say goodbye, lads.
See you later.
See you later.